I can upload this for y'all to rewatch.
No.
So I'm gonna give you guys about 2 minutes to set up this slide into your notebook. 2 minutes. After the timer runs out, I will ask if anyone needs more time, and then I will begin reading and writing out the slide. All right. Does anyone need more time to write this slide?
I need more time.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and start reading it, Jacob. But if you still need more time after I'm done reading it, just let me know. All right. So the definition of exponent, everyone. We've heard the word exponent before. It's the definition of that is a shorthand notation to just write repeated multiplication. So the small example here, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 3 to the 5th power. So the 3, guys, the 3 is called the base. Let me switch up my color. So this 3 is called the base. And this 5 is known as the exponent or power. Now, if you look at this little table that I have here, I gave you expression and in words. So when we have 5 as the base and 2 as the exponent, notice how the base goes first. So it's going to be 5. The 5 is there to the 2nd power. So then for that power here, you just say to the 2nd power. Or we can say whenever it's a power 2, we can also say 5 squared. Now when it's 5 cubed, now the base is 5. It's still 5, but the exponent is 3 now. So it's 5 to the 3rd power, or it's 5 cubed. And then we have 5 again, but now the power is higher than 3. It's 4. So that's to the fourth power right there. So I want you to be comfortable with reading expressions. So like, for example, if I wrote this, if I wrote, oh, that's yellow. If I wrote this, 9, this, how would you read that? Can you tell me how you would read that? Do I have a
9 square.
9 squared? Excellent, excellent. What about here? This one right here.
8 to the third power.
A to the third power. Does anyone have an alternative for this one?
8 cubed.
There you go, guys. It is very important that after this lesson or this slide is that you're able to read exponents now. It's either 8 third or 8 to the third power or 8 cubed. Let me give you a little trickier one. What about this one? How would you read this number or expression?
10 to the 6th power.
10 to the 6th power.
Nigga,
Excellent.
shitty ass mouse was in the fucking ways.
All right, 10 to the 6th power. Now take a look at the note that I highlighted in yellow down here, guys. An exponent of 1 is never written. So any number or variable that's by itself has an exponent of 1. So for example, this number here, 7, 7 is the same thing as 7 to the 1 power. But we never really had to write the 1. The 1 tends to be invisible. All right. Are there any questions or what questions do we have from this slide?
So essentially, exponents and order of operations are like a foundation.
Yes. Yes, Justin, that is correct. A very important part of the foundation. All right, Jacob, were you able to get this slide down, sir?
Yes, sir. I got it all down.
Awesome. Anyone else need more time before I move on? You're always welcome to take pictures of the slides with your cell phones or screenshot it using your computer and write down the slide on your own side. You know what? Just pretty much do what you have to do to get the information, guys. Here's the next slide. Examples 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna give you only write up this part, the top half. Only do that, the top part. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to write down the first examples of today's lesson. So write the word examples, write the instructions, write using exponential notation. And then write number 1, 2, 3, 4, and write down these problems. After the timer runs out, I will begin working out the examples, class. Number 1 says 7 times 7 times 7. Number 2 says 3 times 3. Number 3 says 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. And number 4 says 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 9 times 9 times 9. Now they want us to use they want us to rewrite these expressions in exponential notation, which means they want us to get rid of the repeated multiplication. So for number 1, example 1, guys, do I have a volunteer? Can someone tell me what is another way to rewrite 7 times 7 times 7?
7 cubed.
7 cube or 7 to the?
Power of 3.
That is correct. So if you got that written down in your notebook, guys, go ahead and write it down now. 7 cubed equals to 7 cubed. I appreciate all the volunteers that unmuted themselves and told me. Now I don't mind if it's multiple people, guys. If it's say the answers. If we don't hear the same answer, then I'm gonna make y'all stop and tell me your answers separately. All right, number 2, 3 times 3. Does anyone have
3
an idea?
squared.
Ah, 3 squared to
You
the
can also say 3 to the power of 2, right?
that is correct. That is correct. 3 squared and 7 cubed. So far, so good, class. Ready for the example 3. Do you have any volunteers?
One of the ones, sorry, that I got for example 3 was 6/5 or 6 to the power of 5.
Yep. 6 to the 5th power or 6 to the power of 5. That is correct. Now, example 4 gets a bit trickier because there we have how many different bases?
2.
We have 2 different bases, class. We have base 3 and base 9. So what would be the 2 exponents? How would you write it? 3 what? 9 what? How many 3s do y'all see?
3 to the 4th power and
9 to the
9
third
cubed.
power as
That
well.
There you go. Now, it is very important when you have 2 separate bases, guys. It is very important that you have that multiplication symbol there still between the 2 different bases. And just like that, class, you finish your first example in elementary algebra. And that's okay, Justin. People, I appreciate you being honest. That's why I threw in the example in there, so you're not afraid of seeing multiple bases. All right, guys. So in your same notebook, you're gonna write practice problems, practice 1 through 4, and now you're gonna practice problems on your own. This is not notes. This is just practicing what we just went over. So you're gonna do 4 new problems by yourself. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes starting now. Please write the problems down and the answer. And I want you to box your final answer, okay? By boxing is what I mean. So you know how we got 7Q, I will box that. Box that. Box all your final answers in this class. It's always a good standard to box your final answers, okay? So we're working on our first practice problems, guys. This is you writing them down and writing the answer next to it on your own. Now, last semester, I had a lot of students share their answers with the class on their own. So some people will unmute themselves and be like, hey, I got this for number 1. Did anyone else get that? And stuff like that. Do you have to do that? No. Can you? Yes. I want everyone to understand that this class, mathematics, it's not a solo subject. It's not something that you do by yourself. You want to kind of work on math with others. That's why I'm very interactive. That's why I talk to you. That's why I ask you questions. But I also want you to do the same thing I do with y'all. I want you to do with your classmates when we get back to the classroom, you know? Like, hey, I got this for this one. What did you get? It's about helping each other out, you know? One of my biggest philosophies, guys, teamwork makes the dream work. I live like that religiously. All right, about a few more seconds left, guys. Are there any?
On
Go
number 4, there's 6 4s, right?
That is correct, sir. All right, that was the timer, guys. Let's see how y'all did. Would anyone like to share their answer for number 1 for the practice problem?
For myself, I got 8 to the power of 4 as well as the other way, 8/4. I don't know if you say it like that, but yeah.
I wouldn't say 8/4, because when you say 8/4, Justin, that's a fraction.
Oh,
8/4 is this.
right. You could easily confuse yourself then.
Yeah, so you want to say 8 to the power of 4th, or 8 to the 4th power. Those
That
are
makes more sense. Thank you.
No, you're good. Now, do I have a different volunteer to share with us their answers? Now, does anyone agree or disagree with Justin's 8 to the 4th power? And anyone get the same thing? You
Agree.
Alexis agrees. Excellent. You're not by yourself. And I will tell you, you are correct. Now, do I have a different volunteer to tell me their answer for number 2?
3 cubed.
Ah, excellent, Alexis. So Alexis says 3 cube. Does anyone agree or disagree with Alexis?
Agree.
Excellent. I also agree. Do I have a volunteer for problem number 3?
10 to the 5th power.
10 to the 5th power. I'm going to write that down. Does anyone agree or disagree with Ishmael?
I agree.
Agree. Nice. So far, so good if everyone's agreeing. Number 4 is the trickiest, so who dares try this one out? Sure, go ahead.
5 to the square power times 4 to the 6th power.
Ah, 5 squared times 4 to the 6th power. Does anyone agree or disagree with Shirley?
I didn't think I'd
agree.
get it, but I agree.
Excellent, Justin. I agree. This was a good one too. I agree. Now, the trick to exponential notation is knowing what the base is and knowing what the correct exponent should be. But that's just by counting, correct, class? All right, now we're just baby steps, guys. We're gonna be getting a little more challenging now as we're moving on. All right, before I move on, are there any questions on this example or practice problems? No? All right, let's see how the next examples are. So now, examples 5 through 8, we're now gonna evaluate now. We're gonna evaluate, and what does that mean, right? Let me do something real quick. I feel like I gave y'all too much answers right here. I wanna make you think a little bit more. Okay. Examples 5. I'm gonna give y'all 2 minutes to write these down before I get started. So we're gonna evaluate class, evaluate. Now, evaluating, what that means. When you evaluate an expression will simplify into a number, a value. So what that's saying is, for example, 9 squared, it's saying that 9 squared is gonna be equal to another number. The question here for us to do is, what number does it equal to? So we may have to use mental math with multiplying in our head, or we may have to use a calculator. It depends on how hard it is.
What are we doing? We're breaking down
Examples 5
exponents,
through 8.
right?
Yeah, examples 5 through 8, yes. All right, let's evaluate now. So if you notice the original problems, guys, like number 5 says 9 squared is giving us exponential notation, but we know exponential notation is just repeated multiplication. So 9 squared, class, 9 squared is the same thing as 9 times what?
9.
9. How many 9s should we see here?
Just 2.
Just 2. And do we see 2? Yeah. So what's 9 times 9? Well, if we do 9 times 9 in the calculator, that gives you 81. So that is that's the value of 9 squared. Do y'all see how we were able to get to 81? Now, number 6 is 6 to the power of what?
1.
So how many 6s should we see? Just 1.
1.
Good. Now, what about number 7, example 7, 3 to the power of what? Or is 3 to the, how would you say 7?
At least for me, I'd say 3 to the 4th power.
Excellent, 3 to the 4th power. And that tells us how many different 3s should we see?
4.
4. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Does everyone agree with that? So now let's multiply. What's 3 times 3? 9. What's 9 times 3? 27. 27 times 3? 81. Did anyone else get something different? Now, number 8 gets tricky, guys, because there's 2 bases. Now, for the 5, how many 5s am I going to write down when I expand it? What's my power there? Now, I don't see.
Be just 1, right?
It's 1, yeah, you just won. But how many 6s should be afterwards?
2, because it has 2 in the
As a power.
Oh, you know what I meant.
Yeah, no, I got you, Justin. Yeah, you're correct. 2 6s and 1 5. And now we just multiply. What's 5 times 6? I think that's 30, right? What's 30 times 6? Use your calculator if you don't have one. If you can't do it, remember
180.
180. Thank you, Jose. Now, one thing I need you to understand, just because you're in college, it does not mean that you're a calculator. I'm never gonna have you do math in your head. If you can do it on your calculator or on paper, I recommend to do that, okay? I don't want you to make mistakes with mental math if mental math is in your strong suit. Now, I would love for all of y'all to work on your mental math and practice your mental math multiplication. All right, guys, are there any questions for examples 5 through 8?
On 6, since it has the 1 there, and I know I kind of said this with 8 too. Typically, if it's 6 to the power of 1, most likely it's 9 times out of 10 invisible, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, cool.
That is correct. Good question.
Thank you, sir.
Joseph. No, thank you for your question. Any other questions before? Because you are going to have to do 4 practice problems on your own right now. Any questions before we get started? All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all 2 minutes to get these practice problems 5 through 8 solved. So now you're evaluating them now. So good luck, class. You're welcome to ask questions to each other if you're stuck. Your 2 minutes timer starts now. You are welcome to use a calculator, guys. If you're at home, you're welcome to use your phone too. But just know that in 2 weeks, when we get on campus, we do want to get away from that. All right, class, that was your timer. Do I have any volunteers to tell me what they got for the solution for problem number 5? Remember, we're evaluating now, so we want to know, what does 4 square equal to?
16.
I got 16.
16. Does anyone agree or disagree with the 16?
Agree.
Excellent. What about number 6, guys? 7 cube. Any volunteers for what they got for this one?
21.
I got 21. Does anyone agree or disagree with 21?
343.
Ah, we got a different answer. Or 343. Class, which one do y'all agree with or disagree with?
I got 343.
I got 43.
I get 343.
I got 343.
Multiple variant 343. Let's talk about the difference. Well, how do you think someone got 21? Can someone tell me how someone got 21? Or
They
whoever.
did 7 times 3.
Yeah, 7 times 3 is 21. But is 7 cubed the same thing as 7 times 3, class?
It is not.
It is not, right? We know that exponential notation is the same thing as repeated what? Repeated what operation?
Yeah, multiplication.
Yeah, repeated multiplication. So 7 cubed is the same thing as what times what times what?
7 times 7 times 7.
And multiplying 3 sevens does give you 343. So does the person who said 21, do they know the difference now from 7 cubed to 7 times 3? We're good?
Yeah, I got it. I did it wrong. My bad.
No, Jacob, you're good. You're good, sir. My biggest thing is that I rather you get it wrong in class during practice than at home on the test or at home on the homework, you know? So that's good. As long as it clicks now, that's what matters to me the most, all right? Number 7. Ooh, is that a tricky one? Anyone want to share what they got for 7?
I got 11.
all the way.
11.
If you got 11, guys, you got it. Right, good job. Just see what I was gonna do there? It looked like I was gonna say it was wrong. No, yeah, it is 11. It's a little tricky, right? Because you kind of, is it that easy? Sometimes, guys, it is that easy. So don't ever challenge yourselves on these things, okay? Number 8.
I
I
got
got
18.
18.
18. Anyone get something different than 18? So I got 18. Does anyone agree or disagree with 18?
Agree.
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 Agree. Nah. Are you guys supposed to be in this class? Are you sure? No, you guys are good. Yeah, so far so good. All right. Any questions? What questions do we have on these examples or practice problems, if any? Does everyone feel good about the examples and the practice? Everyone feels like it's starting to make sense what we've been learning
Yes.
about? Okay,
I
good.
think for a while I would get thrown off, like you were saying, on 7 with having the exponent of 1, because it's kind of like you do so many exponents, you kind of forget after a while and your brain kind of freezes.
It does, and it does. But it's about being able to take a step back, take a deep breath, and be like, okay, the 1 means it's invisible, so it's just 11. There you go. All right, we're gonna now get into order of operations, guys. So get ready. So order of operations. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys about 2 minutes, maybe 3, to write this the steps down in example A and B. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. I'll add more to the timer if you need more time to write.
I am, yes, sir.
And are you talking about the slides that are after I'm done with the writing or the blank ones or both?
Like after you're done with the writing.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely save them and email them to the class.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
So
Yep.
this PEMDAS,
yeah, it's PEMDAS. Do you remember PEMDAS?
yup, is right there.
Nice, nice, nice. Do you have a love-hate with it, or is it a love, love,
An
purely hate?
acronym that's necessary, but it's kind of like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious kind of feeling.
Magical. Yep, I agree. All right. Does anyone have any comments about PEMDAS before we get started? Now, does anyone need more time to write down these steps real quick before we get started?
I do. I just have one more left.
Okay, go for it. I'll give you a second. So the first thing we do with PEMDAS, guys, is the parentheses. You're gonna simplify the inside of any grouping symbols. The reason why I left it like that, because grouping symbols, because it's not just parentheses, right? We have parentheses and we have brackets and we have curly brackets. So these are grouping symbols, class. And you will see either of these either on the homework or in the notes. So you cannot be afraid of these symbols. After we do the inside of every parentheses, step 2 is exponents. We have to evaluate any exponents. Do we know how to evaluate exponents? Yeah, we do. I would say we were pretty much experts after these past 2 slides. Step 3, we will multiply and divide from left to right, whichever one comes first. Step 4, we're gonna add and subtract from left to right. All right, let's go ahead and do PEMDAS. Let's do some math magic. You all ready? Look at example A. So I like to write the word PEMDAS here in the middle, because it's kind of like a checklist, okay? Notice how I put MD together, AS together. Now, look at example A, this expression here on A. Are there any parentheses to simplify? So we're done with step 1, check mark. Are there any exponents in A? Nope, so we're done here. Can we multiply or divide? Yes. From which direction are we gonna start with?
Left, since the multiplication's on the left.
2 times 4 is? Use your calculator. 2 times 4? 8.
Eight.
Bring down the minus sign. Uh-oh, look, what do we have here? What is this? What kind of operation is this?
Division.
Division. Is that part of step 3? Yeah. What's 3 divided by 3?
1.
1. And voila, we're done with step 3. We did all multiplication and division from left to right. Now, the only thing we have to do is add and subtract. So what's the new problem we have? What does it say? 8 minus what? 1,
Uno.
which is?
7.
And we're done. And you just did PEMDAS. All right, let's try example B. So we're done with the A. So let me switch my color out. So are there any parentheses in B? No, so we're done. Are there any exponents in B?
4 squared.
Yeah. How do we evaluate 4 squared? What's 4 times 4? What's 4 squared?
16.
That is correct. Now bring everything else down. Now we're gonna multiply and divide from left to right. So question, class, do you think we're gonna do 16 divided by 2 first? or 2 times 4 first? What are your thoughts?
16 divided by 2.
Cool. Does anyone agree or disagree with Jacob about 16 divided by 2?
Have to agree because I think be kind of difficult, I'd imagine. I could be wrong, of course, to put 2 times 4 like in a calculator, for example.
Ah, I see. So Jacob, you're correct. We are gonna divide first because the direction we have to follow for step 3 is what? Left to
Right.
right. And whether it's multiply or divide, we have to do whichever one comes first. And in this example, it happens to be division first. So 16 divided by 2, what's half of 16?
8.
Bring down the times 4 and finish this out was 8 times 4.
32.
And we're done. Any questions on these examples before we move on? Notice how on B, every line that I wrote was a different step. So it's all about taking advantage and writing out your work, guys. All right, let's look at the next example. We have 2 more examples because now they get a little trickier. You see that? So I'm gonna go ahead and give you 2 minutes to write down these examples. 2 minutes. All right, ready for the example, guys? Now this was still an example, so I'm still teaching you right now. You're not trying this on your own yet, unless you're comfortable. So now, look at example C. We have all of this goodness here, starting with the parentheses all the way to the 3. In PEMDAS, what's the first thing we do, guys?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. Do we have any parentheses in here to simplify? Yeah, what's inside of it? 8 minus 6. What's 8 minus 6?
2.
2. So instead of 8 minus 6 class, I'm going to replace that with the 2. And now that 2 should have a what next to it, guys?
2 squared.
2 squared. And then bring down everything else. Everyone with me from the first step to the second step. Everyone agrees that 8 minus 6 is 2, right? All right, what's step 2 now in PEMDAS?
Exponents.
Addition.
Exponent. Can someone tell me what 2 squared is? 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is what?
Four.
4.
4. And then we have plus 2 cube. Can someone tell me what 2 cube is? 2 times 2 times 2.
8.
8. Bring down the times 3. Is everyone noticing how we're just, whatever it evaluates to, I just replace it? Everyone see that? So now we're done with exponents. What's the next step in PEMDAS?
Addition. Or multiplication.
Multiplication and division from left to right. Am I gonna touch 4 plus 8?
No.
No. Am I gonna touch 8 times 3?
Yes.
What's 8 times 3?
24.
That's correct. Now, the last step is A. What does A and S stand for?
Addition and subtraction.
Yep. When it was 4 plus 24.
And yeah.
And we are done. Does everyone see how we apply the steps one at a time?
I got a little thrown off at first, but I do see it now. Yeah.
All right, let's try D out, Justin. Let's try out D together, guys. And then you'll do your first set of practice problems on PEMDAS, okay? All right. If you're doing D class, what's the first step we have to do now? Parentheses, right? How many grouping symbols do we have in D?
Two.
2. We have parentheses and we have what?
Brackets.
And brackets. All right, we're gonna have to do the parentheses first, the yellow. What's 10 divided by 2, class? 5. So the next line I'm gonna do is bracket. Oh, sorry, let me write this again. So it'll be bracket 3 squared minus, but instead of 10 divided by 2, I'm gonna write what? 5, and then bracket. And bring down everything else. All right, now we're not done yet because we still need to simplify this bracket next. So in the bracket, what am I gonna simplify next? What's inside there? 3 what?
3
Squared.
cubed.
What's 3 squared?
Squared.
What's 3 squared equal to?
9.
9. So I'm gonna get 9 minus 5, right? What's 9 minus 5?
4.
4. So then I'm gonna rewrite the step again. So this 9 minus 5 becomes 4. I'm gonna bring down everything else too. All right, everyone with me? Do we see any more grouping symbols or parentheses in this line? So now we're done with the first step. What's after P?
Exponents.
Exponents. Do we see any exponents, class?
Yes.
Yeah, for what?
Cubes.
4 cubed.
For cube. Now, how do we evaluate for cube? That's what times what times what?
4 times 4 times 4.
Good. And what's 4 times 4 times 4? Anyone help me out?
64.
64. And then we bring everything else down. Do we see any more exponents, class?
No.
No. So now what's step number 3 for PEMDAS?
Multiplication and division.
Multiplication and division from left to right. And where do you see the first multiplication or division that class?
7 times 3.
7 times 3. And what is 7 times 3?
21.
21.
Put 21 there and bring down what? Everything else. I know it gets repetitive and annoying, like, oh my God, my hand hurts. But this is the workout we need to do to understand PEMDAS. Now we're done with multiplication division. What's the last step in PEMDAS class?
Addition
Addition and
and
subtraction.
subtraction.
From which way to which way?
Left to right.
So what should we do first?
64 plus 4.
Which is what?
58.
Bring down the minus 21, which equals what? 68,
47.
47.
47, and we are done. What questions do we have following the PEMDAS?
What's the best way? I guess my question is, what's the best way to keep going? That way you don't fall out of order, if that makes sense. Just practicing it over and over, basically.
Practicing it makes perfect, Justin, but the biggest thing is going back and looking at the line that you're simplifying. Like right here, 68 minus 21. I see that there's no parentheses. I see
Right.
there's no exponents. I see that there's no multiplication. And you know which step you're on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so kind of writing down PEMDAS, like let's say you're doing a problem on your paper, writing down PEMDAS so you visually know, okay, this is what I follow.
Exactly, sir. If you notice, that's what I did here. You see that here?
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, I did a checklist and that way I knew what steps I did what. All right, let's see where we're at next, guys. We have the last two examples before your first set of practice, all right? We have E and F. So I'm gonna give you 2 minutes on this slide before I give you the practice problems. All right, now the timer, guys, let's look at example E. E is a fraction expression, so that means there's a top and a bottom class. Whenever you get an expression that's a fraction, I want you to separate the two. So we're gonna do PEMDAS to the top, and we're gonna do PEMDAS to the bottom separately. And then we're gonna divide at the end. So let's do the PEMDAS on the top first. Are there any parentheses on top?
No.
There is not, but you do have an exponent.
Yes, what is the exponent?
3 to
Square.
the power of 2,
Which simplifies to what? What is 3 squared equal to?
9.
9. So the first line I'm gonna have is 7 minus 2 times 3 plus 9, because I'm done with exponents. What's next, guys? If you're trying to get comfortable with PEMDAS, tell me what you would do next after this line. What step are we on now?
If you're following it in order, then you'd multiply 2 times 3,
Which is
I got 6.
So it should be 7 minus 6 plus 9. Do we see any more multiplication or division?
You do not.
No. So now we finish it off with what? What step?
6 plus 9, which
Ah.
would be,
Well, no, you follow the order.
7 minus 6.
oh, yeah,
It has to be from what? From left to,
right.
Right.
so 7 minus
8
6
plus
is
9.
what?
That's 1.
And then bring down the plus 9, which is what? 1 plus 9
10.
is 10. So that's what the top, so equals, right? 10 on top. And now we're gonna do the bottom. All right, let me switch my colors. All right, for the bottom, we have 5 parentheses 2 minus 1. If you're doing PEMDAS on the bottom, what should we do first?
Well, you gotta follow the parentheses.
Yeah, what's inside the parentheses?
You get 3 because it's 2 minus 1.
2 minus 1 is 3. Think again.
Oh, I read that wrong. No, it's
One.
actually 1.
1, so there'll be 5 parentheses times 1. Can y'all tell me what operation is it when we have a number next to another number with parentheses? In case you don't know, it's multiplication. 5 parentheses 1 is the same thing as 5 times 1. And what's 5 times 1?
5.
5. So then we get 10 over 5. And now it's a fraction. What's 10 divided by 5, class?
2.
And we're done. Now, remember when you have a fraction for PEMDAS, you have to do the top by itself, the bottom by itself, and then just divide at the end, class. Are there any questions on E? All right, let's see how you guys do with F. Would anyone like to lead the class example for this one, or would y'all like me to work it out? Anyone want to try it out? The next slide is practice problems, though. All right, I'm gonna do it. Are there any parentheses in F?
No.
We're done. Are there any exponents?
No.
Can we multiply or divide from left to right?
Divide first from the
What's
left.
64 divided by 8?
8.
Yep, it's 8. Bring down everything else. Are we still, can we still multiply or divide?
Yes. Multiply.
What's 8 times 2?
16.
Bring down the plus 4. Do you see any more multiplication division?
No.
No, we're done. So final step, what do we do?
Addition. Subtraction.
Which is 16 plus 4 is,
20.
and we are done. Are there any questions, or what questions do we have using PEMDAS before you do your first practice problems? Any questions?
No.
All
So
right,
the fraction ones on E, so you basically solve them separately because
yes,
I was kind of going in that direction, but then I kind of forgot the last couple of steps, but it happens.
it does happen. So let's go ahead and try out these practice problem, guys. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes on these problems, okay? Good luck. I'm gonna go get some water while you guys work on this, but if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm gonna number them so you can number them on your notebook. All right, class, how's everyone doing on these practice problems? Any questions?
I'm pretty confident with the first two.
Good, 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 good. Let me get my notebook. I'm gonna work on some of these. It's just, I don't remember the answers. All right. Anyone want to share what they got with number one to see how they did?
At least what I got was get 9 times 3 because multiplication comes first, left to right. Got 27 and then 8 divided by 4, got 2. Subtract 27 minus 2 since that's the next step, equaling to 25.
That is correct, Justin.
Awesome.
I appreciate the explanation. I didn't expect that we'll get that. But no, you are correct, sir. 25. Anyone agree or disagree with Justin?
I agree.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. So equals 25. Would anyone need me to work out practice number one, or was just an explanation enough? Okay. Who would like to share what they got for number two?
I got 64.
64. Okay, cool. Anyone agree or disagree with 64?
Agree.
So far, so good. We have people agree with both of these answers. Did anyone get something different and that would like to work out or get some assistance? So far, 25 and 64 are correct, guys. So good job if you got those two answers. All right, number three, from 3 forward, it starts to get a little tricky, right? A little bit more steps. But don't freak out. Follow your checklist, your PEMDAS checklist, and make sure you do the steps as they go. So number three, does anyone have an answer for 3 yet? Or are people still work? Who needs more time? Does anyone need more time to work these out?
I do.
Would y'all like 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes? 2, 3, or 4 more minutes, guys. 2, 3, or 4. You can type in the chat or unmute yourself.
4
Two's
minutes
good.
is fine.
4 minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
4 minutes is good? Alright. 4 more minutes added and then we're gonna go ahead and talk, okay? 4 more minutes. Good luck. I'm here though, so if you wanna type something in the chat or ask for help or say, sir, I'm stuck on this, you wanna ask me for clarification, you can skip one, whatever. Just figure them out, guys. Try them out. You got this. All right, class, that was another 4 minutes on these examples, guys. How's everyone doing on the last four? Anyone want to share what they got for number three?
I got 99. 30.
You got what number? I didn't hear you, Jose.
99.
99. Does anyone agree or disagree with Jose's 99?
Agree.
If you got 99 for number three, you are correct. So does anyone need me to work out practice problems 1, 2, or 3 before I keep going on? Any questions?
I'd say 3.
3? Okay, let's take a look at number 3. All right. So we gotta follow PEMDAS class, right? So PEMDAS. Are there any parentheses in 3? Yeah. What's inside the parentheses? 10 minus 7. What's 10 minus 7? 3. So we put a 3. That should have a power to the fourth plus 2 times 3 squared. So we're done with P. What's after the parentheses? Exponents. How many exponents do we have?
2.
2. We have 3 to the fourth and 3 squared. Can someone tell me what 3 to the fourth is? What's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3?
81.
7. Actually,
81. If it was 3 cubed, it would be 27, but when there's 4, you can always write it out 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 and multiply it out like that. You can see here that'll be 9 times 9, which is 81. And then we have 3 squared. Can someone tell me what 3 squared is?
9.
2 times 9. So we're done with exponents. What's next for step 3? We have to multiply and divide from left to right. Do you see any multiplication or division in this line?
Yes.
Yeah, multiplication, right? 2 times 9 is,
18.
and then to finish it off, we do add and subtract. 81 plus 18 is,
99.
thank you. All right, do I have any guesses, or not guesses, but any answers for number 3? I mean, number 4.
61.
61.
61. Anyone agree or disagree?
Agree.
Excellent. Good. Does anyone have any questions for number 4?
Can you write that one down?
Like, work it out?
Yes.
Yes, I can, ma'am. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it down. All right, let's look at number 4, class. So the first step for PEMDAS, we do the what? P, right? Parentheses or grouping symbols. How many grouping symbols do y'all see?
2.
2. Which one are y'all gonna touch first? The 20 minus or the 4 times 2?
4 times 2.
4 times 2. Can y'all tell me what 4 times 2 is?
8.
Then we have bracket 20 minus 8 bracket, and then bring down everything else. All right, now can I simplify the bracket now? Yeah, what's 20 minus 8?
12.
12. So now I get 36 divided by 12 plus 4 cubed minus 6. Do you see any more grouping symbols?
No.
No. So we're done with the first step. We're done with parentheses. What's after parentheses?
Exponents.
Do y'all see any exponents in this line?
Yes.
4 cubed.
Yeah, what's 4 cubed?
64.
64. So I'm gonna put 64 there, and then I'm gonna bring down everything else. Is everyone with me so far? So we're done with exponents. What's the next step we do, ladies and gentlemen?
Division.
Multiplication and division from left to right. And where do you see a multiplication and division?
36 divided by 12.
36 divided by 12. How many 12s go into 36, class?
3.
3. And now we bring down everything else. Now what's next?
Addition and subtraction.
From left to right. So what do we add first?
T plus 64,
Which is
67,
minus 6, which is equal to,
61.
and we're done. Are there any questions to number 4? As we work through these practice problems, is PEMDA starting to sink in better with you guys? All right,
I
let's
think
look at
kind of
number.
like you were saying earlier, practice makes perfect.
Yes, it does, sir. Yes, it does. Do I have any volunteers to share their answer for number 5?
I got 7. 7.
Ah, excellent. We got 7 guys. That is correct. Does anyone have any questions on number 5 on how to get 7, or is everyone okay? Because you are gonna have problems like this on your homework already. So just make sure, because whatever we're doing in class, guys, whether it be the notes, practice problems, what we do here, you will have to do in the assignments online, just to let y'all know. All right. What about number 6, guys? Does anyone have any answers for 6?
23.
Anyone agree or disagree with 23?
I got 29.
Ah, the plot thickens. Let's see who got it right or wrong. Is either 23 or 29. Let's find out. Okay, so PEMDAS. What do we do first for number 6 for PEMDAS?
Multiplication,
Why?
because it comes in the order of operations in PEMDAS, and then division. Just taking a look at that, that's what I see.
Okay, good question. Good response.
I
Now,
thought it goes left or right. So you start off on the left, then go to the right.
Yeah, good point.
left. Yeah. So what should we do first?
Division.
Division, because it's either going to be multiply or divide from left to right, whichever one comes first.
Right.
So what's 36 divided by 6?
6.
So then bring down the 6, bring down everything else. What's the next operation?
Multiplication.
6
Yeah.
times 3,
Which is what?
18.
And then we bring down the 18, bring down the plus 5. 18 plus 5 is 23. So you see the difference now, guys? So the answer is 23, not 29. What questions do we have on the order of operations so far, guys?
So kind of like when we were what we were talking about in 6, depending on which is first in multiplication and division, you do it first.
Yes. So I think we should write a note in our notebook. Let me pull up a new page. One second, right here. Okay, no. When applying step 3 and step 4 on PEMDAS, we either multiply or divide from left to right comma, whichever comes first. I'm not an English person, guys, but does this make sense? This step, this note?
It definitely does.
Okay, cool. I'm a math guy, so I'm not really good with words. So as long as you read this and it makes sense how to do the steps, write this note down, guys. You always write little notes on your notebook to help you understand the topic. So notice how we had a lot of mistakes of whether we multiply or divide first, depending which one was first. But as long as we know the difference, that it's going to be either one of them. It just depends on which one comes first. And it's the same thing for addition and subtraction. Does anyone need more time on this slide? And we're done, guys. We finished our first lesson today. We're gonna have 2 lessons on Thursday. But do we have any questions today?
I do have one that's half related and half not.
What's up?
What got you into math and all that, like you were saying?
What actually got me to mathematics was, a lot of people were gifted with, athletics, with sports, with, some nifty things. For me, mathematics was the one thing that clicked my whole life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's 3 reasons why I love mathematics. One, it is the universal language in the world. So if you guys were to take elementary algebra in China, you will learn the same lessons that you're learning here, but the language will be just Chinese, but the math would be the same. PEMDAS would be the same, exponents will be the same, and so on. That's one reason. The second reason is that every problem in life will always have a solution.
That is true.
Yep, whether it be a math problem or like you got a flat tire or you need to get rent, that's a problem in your life and there is a solution for it. Now, would those solutions always come easy? No,
Definitely not.
definitely not. But that's why mathematics is one of the subjects that will help fix that,
Oh, for sure. I'll take that to heart because I've always struggled with math myself, and maybe that's a sign.
Maybe. Hopefully this semester you build that skill set, Justin, and that
Here's
confidence.
hoping.
Anyone else have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding my class this semester?
I have a question.
What's up, Jacob?
I thought this is a Flex 2 course. Oh, it's not.
No, sir. This is a 16-week course.
Okay, because I took the class last semester and it started in October. And it was a Flex 2. So I had to
Talking
retake
about
it.
the 8-week courses, right?
Yeah, Flex
Yeah.
8-week course. Do you want to switch to a Flex 2, Jacob, or are you comfortable
No,
trying
I'm
to?
comfortable with this. No, this is a lot better. I like this starting from the beginning instead of halfway through the semester.
And you
I
So I
don't
can get the
feel
flow.
rushed.
I agree. My
Yeah.
first semester teaching last semester at PAC was Flex 2, and the classes were 4 hours. I did 3 lessons. I did 3
I had this
lessons.
class last year in a flex, and it was not fun.
Yes. So this is my first 16-week course class that I've taught. But I think this class is better as a 16 weeks. So that way you don't have to feel stressed with time. That's
Yeah,
what I
I taught
noticed.
last semester.
Yes, exactly. That's where the students who failed said that they had more time on things, they would have been successful. I told them, well, try out for a 16 class rather than an 18-week class,
Because my thing said, March, like March